Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care. Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Joining us now to talk about all of this and the big developments and what happens next is the former Israeli ambassador to the U.S. He was based in New York as a consul general, the great Ambassador Ido Aharoni. Ido, you and I have known each other a long time. First of all, your reaction to what has happened in the last few days. I really believe this has changed the course of history.
Well, I think that this is very significant for the Middle East in general, and I believe that it's a major step in the journey to bring about a regime change in Iran. So the Iranian people are at the cusp of a new era, and I think that this is a good thing for them. This is a major nation with great legacy, great history, 90 million people, territory almost the size of Alaska. It's a big nation with great history, and they deserve a better leadership.
You know, you talked about, obviously, intelligence and this moment in history. I want to go back to even just the incredible intelligence. I mean, you know, Israel, as you know, has the best intelligence, it seems, in the world with Mossad. Obviously, U.S. does too. And you think about the pager attacks. And then this moment, I understand it was CIA intelligence that they have come out publicly and said was given to Israel for that meeting that they found out was suddenly going to happen in a daytime, a breakfast meeting with the Ayatollah and 49 others that were taken out. I mean, what a remarkable military feat that I believe they will be talking about this for centuries to come, Ido Aharoni.
Yes, well, I think the methodology is similar. If you look at the way Israeli army operated over the years, from the 6-Day War and on, of course, the pager attack, the 12-Day War in Iran, and now this chapter. The methodology is very simple. You first decapitate the head of the snake. Then the system is in complete disarray. And this is what you're looking at right now. You're looking at an Iranian system. They're all over the place. I don't think they know what they're doing. They're shooting targets. They're now involving Europe, for crying out loud. They targeted British military bases in Cyprus, thus involving Europe. It's the first time in history that Iran is attacking directly European targets. So these are things that don't make any sense. I don't see any strategy in what they're doing. And I think that their statement that they're going to close the Straits of Hormuz is going to even make things worse for them, because the United States, as President Trump, we just heard him say, the United States will be determined to completely destroy their naval capacity.
Yeah, and we already heard also that I guess they have taken out the U.S. 11 of the Iranian ships. You know, you brought up also that Iran in the last few hours has said that it would set any ship in the Strait of Hormuz on fire. What do you think was their strategy about going after also Arab neighbors? I mean, I sit and look. They went after the airport in Kuwait. They went after that apartment complex in Bahrain. In Dubai, we saw the airport and some hotels. And I think in Saudi, it was an oil field. And now we're hearing, as we mentioned, the U.S. Embassy in the last few hours has taken some hits by drones. What do you think was their objective? Because whatever it was, it seems like it failed.
Yes, well, I think that they're living up to their longstanding ethos of resistance for the sake of resistance. It's part of their theology. We cannot really judge that using rational, thinking like we used to do all the time, that we often do in Western civilization. Their thinking is pretty much irrational. We are interested in the preservation of life. They're not. We're interested in good governance. They're not. We're interested in efficiency and accountability. They're not. And so these are things that are well rooted in their own theology, one of resistance. And I think that this is the ethos that they are trying to live by. And that's why they didn't even bother to hide the morning of the beginning of the attack. And so I don't see any strategy. I think that the Iranians are digging themselves a much deeper hole with every day that goes by. And there's no doubt in my mind that they don't have any proper military answer to the tremendous force that is being displayed by the United States with the help of Israel.
And former Israeli Ambassador Ido Aharoni, what do you make also of the fact that they're trying to, it seems like trying to reconstitute if they can. Obviously, this was an enormous blow to Iran. You've got this guy, Ali Laranjani, who is still alive. He's a hardliner. Where do you see it going from here, the regime, knowing the sort of backbone of Iran?
So I think two things are happening in parallel. One is that the opposition is probably trying to position itself to take over. It's not going to be easy. The opposition is not very well organized, as far as I can tell. On the other hand, in parallel, what you will see is an immediate struggle power, a succession struggle. Who will replace Khamenei? Some people talk about one of his sons, Larijani, that you mentioned is one option. There are many options. There'll be a struggle. And again, naturally, when things like that happen, the energy, the internal energy, is directed in the wrong place, right? They will be fighting over succession rather than concentrating on the war at hand. And I think this is exactly what you're seeing. You're seeing a system out of control that doesn't make any sense. I think that they're in deep trouble.
What do you say, Ambassador, to some, politicians, and I'm sure you've heard some of them? It's stunning to me as someone who knows the region, as you know, I do, and you certainly know it very well, and the threat from Iran. And you hear some politicians say they weren't really an imminent threat. We don't want to, why did we have to take out Iran? What do you say to Americans who are listening as to why it was important to do this attack and really continue it to the point where they cannot come back to ever think about being a nuclear power and ballistic missiles?
Well, you have the dynamics of the negotiations. It's very simple. They were on a path to reach a resolution with the United States. They basically refused every reasonable proposal made by the United States. I think President Trump made it very, very clear. They had a clear path to a nuclear bomb with the JCPOA agreement that basically told them that within 10, 15 years, if they refrain from producing one nuclear bomb, they'll have basically a clear path to reach enough uranium to have as many nuclear bombs as they wish. All they had to do was to comply with that agreement. Of course, they continue to lie throughout the process to the International Atomic Energy Agency. When President Trump had the United States get out of the agreement that was signed during the Obama administration. He was severely criticized by other Western leaders. But the fact of the matter is that this was a deal that was designed to prevent the Iranians from creating one bomb for a certain period of time, 10, 15 years. But it never had even the pretension of dealing with the real problem. But the most dangerous weapon in the Iranian arsenal was their ideology, was their motivation, was their intent. And this deal was never designed to handle that. So I think this is the first time since 1979 that the West, headed by the United States, is dealing with the real issue, which is the ill intentions of the leadership, their deadly ideology. That's the most dangerous weapon in their arsenal.
Yeah, very well said. And it is certainly extreme fanaticism, Islamist. And obviously they are shouting death to Israel, death to America, calling both of us the Satan. And that's why this feat was extraordinary, not just for us, but I think for all freedom-loving people in the world. Bravo to the great Israeli military. Bravo to the great American military. Former Ambassador Ido Aharoni, thank you so much for joining us here on the Rita Cosby Show. What an important day. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita, for having me. Thank you for your friendship.
Thank you. Your friendship always, too. Thank you very much, Ido. So appreciated.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.